The Galactic Council chamber had seen wars declared and civilizations erased, but it had rarely seen silence like this. Holographic light bathed the vast hall in cold blue as the final projection stabilized. The Krell invasion fleet, 400 warships, hovered in perfect formation. Opposite them, Earth's official response blinked into existence. One ship. Ambassador Zwax Thor's tentacles tightened involuntarily, their slow coiling a sign of deep unease among his species. Around him, murmurs rippled through the delegates. Confusion. Disbelief. Amusement. This must be a transmission error, chirred the Valoran representative, her compound eyes flickering as she adjusted her translator. The Krell Empire has committed 400 capital vessels. Surely the humans understand basic strategic mathematics. At the human podium, Ambassador Marcus Webb remained perfectly still. His posture was relaxed, his hands folded behind his back. 2 decades of diplomacy had taught him that silence could be sharper than argument. The United States naval ship Indomitable will suffice, Webb said evenly. Laughter echoed through the chamber. The Krell commander, a massive reptilian warlord whose scarred scales told the story of 100 conquered systems, leaned forward. His name translated loosely to Thor, a title earned through annihilation rather than inheritance. One ship, he rumbled. Is this arrogance, or surrender? Perhaps Earth wishes to spare us the trouble of glassing their world. For the first time, Webb's expression changed. Just slightly. No surrender, he replied. Just one ship. The words lingered in the air far longer than they should have. 3 days later, at the outer edge of Jupiter's orbit, the Krell Armada arrived. 400 vessels unfolded into attack formation, their shields radiating enough energy to strip continents bare. Plasma cannons charged. Missile bays opened. The void itself seemed to recoil from the power on display. And there, waiting alone, was the human ship. Thor stared at the tactical feed in growing confusion. The vessel was enormous, 5 times the mass of his flagship, but its design was wrong. No visible weapons. No shield emitters. Instead, it looked industrial. A massive hull lined with oversized cargo bay doors. That is their warship, his tactical officer hissed. It's a hauler. Thor's claws tightened. This is an insult, he growled. Target the vessel. All ships. Prepare to fire. Pride drowned out caution. And that would be the last mistake the Krell Empire made. Aboard the Indomitable, there was no panic. The bridge was alive with motion, but it was controlled, disciplined. 200 crew members worked in practiced harmony as data streamed across tactical displays. Captain Jake Morrison sat calmly in the command chair, gray eyes fixed on the approaching armada. Enemy weapons charging, reported Lieutenant Commander Rachel Foster from Tactical. Full spread. Morrison nodded. Right on time. Cargo bay status, he asked. All 12 bays standing by, replied Chief Engineer Davis, his Texas drawl steady despite the incoming threat. Ready to open on your command. The Valoran observer assigned by the Council clutched the edge of her console. Captain, this is madness. You don't even have shields. Morrison smiled faintly. By design, ma'am. On the Krell flagship, Thor raised a claw. Fire. The void erupted. 400 warships unleashed annihilation. Plasma bolts, antimatter missiles, focused energy beams, enough firepower to vaporize moons, converged on the lone human vessel. Then the Indomitable opened its cargo bays. What emerged was not cargo. Thousands of small craft poured into space, fighters, drones, interceptors, an endless metallic tide. They spread outward in perfect formation, moving as one, each unit adjusting its trajectory with terrifying precision. The Krell barrage never reached its target. The swarm came alive. Point defense fire erupted from tens of thousands of platforms simultaneously. Precision lasers stitched through space. Kinetic rounds shattered plasma bolts mid-flight. Missiles vanished in blinding flashes as the human swarm erased the attack before it could touch the carrier. Thor's blood ran cold. "How many?" he demanded. 60,342 craft, his sensor officer whispered. "All armed. All autonomous. Quantum-linked coordination. We can't jam them." Then the humans attacked. What followed wasn't a battle. It was a lesson. The human craft flowed around Krell's shields like a school of predatory fish, striking weak points with surgical accuracy. Hundreds of drones focused fire on single shield nodes, overwhelming systems designed for ship-to-ship combat. Krell vessels began to die. One exploded. Then another. Then dozens. The Krell fired back, but their weapons were useless against targets that small, that fast, that numerous. For every drone destroyed, 10 more replaced it. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Morrison watched with grim satisfaction. "They think in ships," he said to the shaken Valoran observer. "We think in platforms." He gestured to the tactical display, where red icons vanished by the second. "Each of those drones costs less than a single Krell torpedo," he continued. "Alone, they're nothing. Together, they're inevitable." The observer swallowed. "This is horrifying." "This is efficiency," Morrison corrected. "One large target is vulnerable. Thousands of small ones control the battlefield." Within 30 minutes, half the Krell fleet was gone. The survivors broke formation, engines flaring as they attempted to flee. "Let them go," Morrison ordered. "They need to tell the story." The swarm disengaged, returning to the carrier as effortlessly as it had deployed. The Indomitable hadn't taken a single hit. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, silence returned. Thor stood before the assembly, his once proud posture broken. "They didn't send one ship," he said quietly. "They sent 60,000. He paused. "They just packaged them efficiently." Ambassador Webb inclined his head. "Humanity learned long ago that power isn't about size. It's about projection. We call it force multiplication." He let the word settle. "One carrier can dominate an entire solar system," Webb continued. "That's why we sent just one ship. A beat. The Indomitable still has 8 cargo bays we didn't need to open." Zwax Thor's tentacles drooped, caught somewhere between fear and respect. "There will be no next time," he said. The council voted unanimously. Earth's military doctrine was formally recognized as adequate. Webb smiled. "We prefer superior," he said, "but we'll take it." As he left the chamber, Webb allowed himself a moment of pride. Humanity hadn't won through numbers. It had won through innovation, strategy, and audacity. They had asked why Earth sent only one ship. Now they knew better than to ask again.